I was working one morning, I was opening, and the phone rings, and I look at the thing, and it's got this really long phone number. And I was like, what the hell kind of number is this? And I pick it up, and it was actually an Assyrian living in Nineveh who called because he saw the food truck on Facebook, and he just wanted to say hi. And he's like, I just want you to know that we see you here back home, and we're just really proud of you. And I was like, I'm ready to cry. It's like it's like the coolest thing in the world to have that happen when a total stranger just calls you up to tell you that you're doing a good thing. And I was like, that made my year. It made my decade, really.
Welcome to episode 45 of the Assyrian Podcast. My name is Odessa, and on behalf of the entire Assyrian Podcast team, Happy New Year. We look forward to continue bringing episodes to you every Tuesday. In this episode, I finally had the chance to sit down with Lisa and Jacob David, who own and operate the Nineveh Assyrian Food Truck in Olympia, Washington. Lisa and Jacob are brother and sister and have a really cool background in growing up both Assyrian and Jewish and being born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. For those who may not be so familiar, there are hardly any Assyrians who live in Toledo, but that did not stop them from having close ties with their Assyrian heritage, as you'll learn more in this episode. We also talked about their family lineage, what led to the start of their business and stories around it, their love for Assyrian music and their vast collection of vinyls, and finally, advice for taking your business from an idea to a creation. I have this imaginary list in my head of cool Assyrians, and they are definitely on the list. If this is the first episode you're listening to on the Assyrian Podcast, welcome. To keep up with us, be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, let others know about us, and if you find value in what we're delivering each week, we'd really appreciate if you left us a review on whichever platform you're listening. Also, hashtag New Year, New Us. We've revamped our website where you can listen to episodes directly from the website, learn about our team, and more. Go to www.assyrianpodcast.com, check it out, and we'd love to hear from you, so let us know your thoughts. Lastly, support for this podcast comes from Tony Kalogerakos and the injury lawyers of Illinois and New York. Tony generously offered his space for us to be able to do this interview in a quiet space, so big shout out to Tony. If you know anyone who's been in a serious accident, please reach out to Tony Kalogerakos. He has been recognized as a top 40 lawyer and a rising star by Super Lawyers publication and has obtained multiple multi-million-dollar awards. Tony can be reached at injuryrights.com or 847-982-9516. Now, without further ado, Lisa and Jacob David. I did some research that the way I understood your family, they came from the Urmia region of Iran to Baghdad, from Baghdad to America. In America, specifically Ohio, right?
For Chicago.
First Chicago,
Yeah.
and then Ohio.
Yeah.
And then y'all ended up making your way somehow to the Northwest.
Yeah. So our grandparents are both Urmi on our dad's side. They came from...
Our grandfather was from a village called Ardashai, and then our grandmother was from Charabash.
Our grandfather was born in 1915.
Yeah, they fled as he was an infant, then when the genocide was happening, and packed up what they could on donkeys and started walking to Iraq. Odd story, he was, as an infant, they had him strapped to one of the donkeys, and the donkey got lost. So they spent a day trying to find our grandfather, so we were almost never here. We almost don't exist.
Found the donkey.
But they found the donkey, taking a break under a tree. Needed a break and some shade. Luckily the family all made it to Iraq, set up a new life eventually in Baghdad. And so our dad was born there. Eventually things were not great there either, so he left. He was the first, well, he had uncles that had left, but then he was the first of our immediate family to leave in 63, 64, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He went to London for half a year and then came to Chicago and stayed with his uncles.
When he left on a student visa, he went to the Baghdad College.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his high school.
That was his high school. And I think most of the guys who graduated from there left to go study engineering.
Right.
Pretty common back then.
Yeah.
Probably still now.
So,
Yeah.
So he left and wound up in Chicago with family, and then his cousin actually went to the University of Toledo in Ohio to study, and so then he followed. He's like, okay, I can go there too, and he was studying engineering in Toledo, And that's where he met our mom at university.
No kidding. Yeah. Okay. And how did that love start and blossom from there?
I think both being Semitic people, they're, kind of kindred spirits. They, they look similar.
Our mom's got the big frizzy hair,
Yeah, they're both brilliant. My mom was
smart,
studying anthropology, and they hit it off.
Yeah.
They were together for years, probably almost a decade before they got married, and had kids, yeah? No? 70s? Oh, almost.
So. Yeah. They got
What
married in 74.
Okay.
74.
And I was born in 76.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they met in 69.
Something around there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what was the family's reaction like?
I think it was hard.
It was hard, yeah. Bringing, marrying outside, especially on our Assyrian side of the family, it was they were a little more reluctant. But over the years, once they got to know our mom and how sweet she is, she's part of the family.
I think like both cultures have like survived for thousands of years because of being endogamous people and always marrying your own, and the religion too on both sides is one thing that has always helped maintain cultural identity. So it's hard to like throw different to the mix.
Yeah, and I don't know if you all just recently saw a YouTube video that came out, and they were comparing the Aramaic and Hebrew language. And they're throwing certain words, and the other person had to guess what it is.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how similar both of the languages are.
And I've known that for a long time. I'm not fluent in either, but I know a number of words in both, and I've known the similarities, especially alphabet numbers, all those kind of things. But then just hearing words over time and knowing them from both, I'm like, oh yeah, this is very similar. There's a lot of words that are very close. So it was cool to have that video. I actually haven't seen that one yet. I've seen other ones of the same series, but that one I bookmarked it just like a week ago. I was like, I got to get back and watch that one.
They do like Assyrian Arabic, Assyrian Farsi, and then Assyrian Hebrew.
I think I watched the Assyrian Farsi one.
Yeah.
But this Assyrian and Hebrew is definitely the closest.
Yeah.
They say words, I'm just like, hello, that's like actually what we say as well. So.
Right.
Yeah, we grew up going to Hebrew school, and our dad was always able to help us with our homework.
Okay.
Being fluent in Assyrian.
Yeah.
Well, that and when we would do Jewish holidays too, if we would do a Passover Seder or something with family and our dad would be there, some of those things are straight up in Aramaic, and the Hebrew Talmud and other things are in Aramaic, the older Aramaic, but he would still understand a lot of it. And we'd come home singing songs from school, and he'd be like, no, I know all that,
I know what you're saying.
I know exactly what you're saying, yeah.
So was your mom, they met in Ohio, was your mom from Ohio as well?
Yes.
Yeah, her dad was from Canada. He grew up in Montreal, and then her mom's parents came over from Russia and Poland through Ellis Island, and they settled in Ohio and opened businesses. I think we have 4 generations of restaurant on our side.
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow. And all in Toledo, or kind of spread throughout?
That was all in Toledo.
That was in Toledo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our parents' restaurant, they sold 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And what was that?
They had a deli. It was homemade soups
in Toledo.
Yeah.
It was a sub
Toledo,
shop and deli.
So they went to school there, and then they ended up just settling in Toledo.
They both decided they didn't want to work in offices all day, and then my grandfather had an extra building, and he was like, you guys should open a business. You can have this building.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Because it was a restaurant in that space. Well, actually, that same building, our grandmother ran a
cafeteria,
like an old style cafeteria, soda
shop,
shop, pharmacy. Yeah, in the 50s and 60s maybe. And then so the building was in the family, and other restaurants were there over the years, but then one of them closed, and so the building was just empty. And so our grandfather said, you guys, this is a restaurant. If you guys want it, go for it. And they did.
By that time,
that was in 79.
Yeah, by that time the rest of my dad's siblings and his parents had come to America.
Yeah.
So his brothers came and helped get the place ready to open, and then one of his brothers stayed and worked for the first 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then he came back to Chicago and opened his own restaurant.
Oh, cool. How far is Toledo from Chicago?
It's 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, growing up, was there an Assyrian community at all in Toledo?
No, we were the only ones.
No.
Yeah.
None that we knew of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just
I've met others later, yeah.
Elmer Abbo growing up, but
he's from Toledo.
Very rare.
Now there's a huge Chaldean population, Assyrian population in Detroit, and a lot of them have started to come down because it's only an hour south of Detroit. But when we were kids, there were no, you would never hear of an Assyrian.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like growing up in Toledo?
It was nice. I mean,
cool.
we loved our school. We loved our classmates. We loved coming to Chicago. It was our favorite thing to do. Every vacation time, we always came to Chicago to spend time with our cousins. And we would hang out at my grandmother's house and just get wild in the basement playing.
That was our Assyrian experience growing up. Was coming to Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
being with our cousins, staying at our nana's house. That was where we connected on that level.
Which is why we're all still close to this day. We text each other every day.
And we still come to Chicago a couple times a year at least.
And growing up, how often would you make a visit to Chicago? We
would come for most holidays because it was easy. It's just a 4.5 hour drive, so that wasn't hard. But then in the summers,
we would take a train here by ourselves.
Yeah, when I was like 10, Lisa's 8 or whatever, our parents would just stick us on the Amtrak alone and be like, all right, you're going west. Yeah. Get off in Chicago.
Pack us a lunch, and then my uncle would be there to pick us up.
Which isn't so hard because Chicago's the end of the line, so you can't miss your stop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then we would stay at our grandmother's in the summer for a couple
So we would stay for a couple weeks, a month, whatever, and we would just play with our cousins every day. Very good memories here in Chicago.
Yeah. Do you have a couple of memories that are very vivid that come to mind?
Besides just regular playing in the backyard type of things, I think going to a couple of the Assyrian parties were really memorable for us.
Oh, the summer picnics.
Getting to see the summer picnics that they would do regularly. Oh, so fun. Just to see hundreds of Assyrians dancing and watching the singers, getting to hear Sargon sing live was so cool to us because we had all the vinyl when we were young.
And he was my favorite singer ever. I loved him. When I was 4, I wanted to marry him.
I love it. Your parents are like, I know, but we can go see him.
Right.
He's a little old. When you grow up, you probably won't think that.
Okay, so you sort of had that experience of growing up Assyrian. You'd be connected to that when you came in and visited Chicago.
Yes.
At what point did you then go from Ohio to Washington?
In 1997, I applied and was accepted to the Evergreen State College, which is a liberal arts college in Washington State in Olympia. And
for those who may not be familiar with the U.S. map and where Washington is,
it's not D.C. on the East Coast. It's all the way on the west.
north of California.
Yeah.
Close to Canada. Yeah.
We are an hour south of Seattle.
Yep. So I went to college there, and there was just this need for Middle Eastern food in the town. There was one small Lebanese place that then closed halfway through college. And the whole time I thought, you know what? If I opened a falafel place up in this town, it would be gold. There's nowhere to get falafel. We would drive an hour to Seattle if we were going to go have Middle Eastern food. And I focused mostly on ceramics and printmaking in school. And then after school, I taught art to children in after-school programs and alternative school programs. And I did that for 10 years. And then I was doing a little bartending on the weekends, and I loved it. And I thought, why don't I just open my own place? So I did a bunch of research, and Jacob helped me put together a business plan. And at the time, food trucks were getting really, really popular. And I thought, I really want a sit-down restaurant. I want to make all the Assyrian foods for people. And then I thought, well, it would be so much harder to figure out funding for all of this. I could just open a food truck now. I just have to find one and buy it. And Jacob helped me find one in the Midwest. And then him and his best friend bought it and drove it all the way across the country.
And what year are we talking here?
This was 2011.
2011? Okay.
Yeah.
And we did we switched out some of the equipment, did a little bit of upgrading on the truck, got it licensed. It was very exciting for the community, so we didn't tell anyone that we were opening on the first day because we were scared we would be too busy. So we just kind of sneaked into our spot.
Parked into our spot.
Opened up for business, and we were so busy just from word of mouth. And then a couple of days later, we announced it online that we opened, and we stayed busy ever since.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so you have a background or a family that has opened up many restaurants, so it's sort of in your blood.
It is.
Really.
Yeah. Our parents' restaurant opened when she was 1, so we grew up in restaurants.
Did you all used to help out as well?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
starting out when you're that little, you're just napping under the counter, and then as you get older, our dad's like, here, have this mop and get to work,
So did that help ease the idea of thinking of this as just an idea, a sketch, some notes on a paper to an actual food truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, and for us, it's not a hobby business. Like you said, it's in our blood. We've done it our whole lives.
Yeah. And it didn't seem so scary to do it either. We were able to launch right into it without having that initial fear. I mean, there is some. You're nervous. You're opening up a business, but then
you have to figure out the muscle memory of where everything is to get fast at doing your job.
Right. And then there's the business. That's the day-to-day work of it. Then there's also the business side of it where you're trying to grow the business and do all that. And that part didn't seem as daunting because we learned over the years. Our parents would tell us, "Oh, we wish we would have done this," or "We wish we would have done that" over the years, and so you learn from that. Yeah, exactly. So it seems it's kind of second nature to a lot of what we do.
And then there were certain things like our parents didn't have a lot of employees over the years, so we had to figure out how to do all the payroll for having we have like 14 employees now.
Yeah.
And the small business training program that I went to that helped put the business plan together, they're a great resource for whenever we have questions about how to properly set up any kind of business function, and they have endless resources for small businesses.
That's so great that there's such a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's something I don't think is talked about enough, that supporting small businesses has such a positive impact on local economies because the money stays in the community, that it's great to have a resource like that. I'm sure there's some in Chicago too, to help small businesses be successful, because there is such a high failure rate, especially for food businesses.
And why do you think that is?
I think because people go into it thinking, I have this passion for cooking, but haven't ironed out all of the kinks when it comes to the business aspect. And there's such slim margins that it's hard to farm all of that part of the job out. It's hard to hire a bookkeeper. It's hard to pay for the payroll services. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to figure it all out yourself. And there are systems that you can use to make it simple.
And what's the population like in Olympia?
It's small. It's like 50,000.
Yeah.
50,000.
Yeah. In Toledo, where we grew up, it was like 500,000.
That was with surrounding areas. And Olympia, that's Olympia proper, just 50. But there's smaller cities outside that make it a little bit larger, but it's small town.
Now I was looking on the map. It's like an hour and a half away from Portland?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hour and a half away from Portland. So you all came in. You were saying that there wasn't really much of a Middle Eastern scene going on there, and you opened up. You weren't sure how it was going to be like. You're busy, and you've been staying busy since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We do a lot of catering now.
Yeah.
And what do people in the community have to say about the food truck, about Middle Eastern Assyrian food in general, and how has the name informed people?
I think it has informed people to who Assyrians are, from not ever hearing of Assyrians to I overhear people sometimes that I don't know and don't know me saying, "Oh yeah, let's go get Assyrian food."
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Or I've seen it online too. Like there's like Reddit sub forums, and they'll be like, "Oh, if you're coming to Olympia, you gotta go get Assyrian food."
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes us really happy. Actually, it's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most in doing it is that so many times, especially if I'm working at the window with taking orders and talking to people that haven't been there before or don't know the food or don't know Assyrians at all come up and ask, like, what is this? How do you say it? Nineveh? And I'm like, okay, and start correcting them and then give them, exactly. But then I, launch into the whole speech of who we are and how long, our history, everything. And I get to do that hundreds of times. And so each individual non-Assyrian that comes that I get to tell that to, it makes me feel really good that they're going away, learning something about who we are, getting a taste of our food, a sample of our culture, and then they go out and spread that to other people, and they have a very small snippet of what Assyrian is, and it makes me happy. It's pleasing to be able to do that.
It's rewarding.
Yeah, it's very rewarding.
And I noticed, like, I was looking at your menu, and your menu online has, like, the general, what you would expect, let's say, for example, like a Middle Eastern food truck would have.
Mm-hmm. Like
but
common
then,
Middle Eastern street food.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But then you go on, like, your Instagram, and then you'll see gleche and, like, jaje. I don't know. I saw, like, all these amazing things. And kipte, and, like,
So we'll do all those for catering.
For catering.
Our catering menu is like all Assyrian food. And
it's hard to serve bushala out of a truck.
It is.
Who's going to walk down the street eating it?
Yeah, we have it on our catering menu. And for one thing that was really hard opening a truck is like where there's so many different Assyrian dishes. How do you pare it down? Because a truck, your space is so limited, and you have to have ingredients that you're going to use in multiple items on your menu. So we really had to like take the menu we had originally wrote, cut it in half, and then
cut that in half.
Yeah.
But then, we constantly do events. We take rice shorwa to the hospital for intern lunches all the time.
Yeah, they're having a lunch, and we're catering weddings, and they're eating,
they're American
curry
people.
stew
they're
and
not
stuff.
Assyrians.
Yeah.
They're
No
eating,
kidding. Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, they're excited to have it at a wedding. I'm like, okay, that's great. I go to Assyrian weddings, and it's like chicken and potatoes, and I was yeah, exactly. I was like, why can't I have that?
Right. So that's really cool that through this route that you're able to inform so many different people on a day-to-day basis about who we are, and they get a taste of who we are as well, and then they go and tell other people as well. And the fact that like the name Assyrian is in it kind of helps inform,
and that was important
bring the
to
curiosity
us.
as well.
It was
very important.
It was very conscious on our part to put, not just call the place Nineveh, but call it Nineveh Assyrian, and we always put that on everything that we put out there with our name on it.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time Assyrian-owned businesses are like, oh, we'll just, we'll call it Lebanese, or we'll call it Mediterranean, and we're like, no, we're going to differentiate.
Yeah. I just saw a place, it's not Assyrian-owned, so not calling anyone out, but I was passing by like a gyros place, and it said European-style gyros. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Right?
Like marketing, okay, whatever. So walk us through what it is like to actually own and operate out of a food truck. And, your parents had a deli, but I guess like to actually have like a, what would they call, like a brick and mortar?
Yeah.
Yeah, and versus having like a food truck.
Well, we're getting ready to open a brick and mortar restaurant.
You are?
Yes, it's currently
we're just breaking ground last week, I think.
We just got our permits.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're, putting in some plumbing and stuff. But that'll hopefully happen in the spring.
Okay.
We'll have one
and that will be in Olympia as well?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be also in downtown Olympia. And we're looking forward to having more than just, street food, shawarma, falafel. But like we were saying, you're limited in what you can make because of space. We're also lucky that we have a commissary that we can work out of to do larger events, which is required.
A catering kitchen and commissary,
Our county law says that all food trucks have to have a commissary space to work out of.
Commissary?
So it's just an off-site kitchen that's a brick and mortar kitchen somewhere that you have to do a lot of your work. We actually are, the way our licensing works too, we have exemptions, so we're allowed to do we don't have to move our truck every day. Most food trucks have to move every day, but because we also have, so on the lot that we're in, there is a drive-through coffee shop, which we also own.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, we rent the entire lot, and so we have the coffee shop, and then there's a storage building, and then 2 other food trucks, and then another building that is a tap room for hard cider. So we have a little kind of a beer garden there, yeah. And so it's a little pod, and the building has water and sewage, so we don't have to move our truck to clean it every night like most food trucks do. So we're really lucky in that regard. But storage is the biggest issue. You don't have room to store enough food to even, like we're busy enough now that it's barely enough room to store food for one day. So we have this building that's a garage next to that space that we can store a lot of stuff in. But then we're constantly I go get supplies 3 times a week. We get deliveries a couple times a week because we can't buy a full week's worth of food and store it anywhere. So that's one of the biggest challenges. Working in the space is a little bit of a challenge because it's just like 18 foot by 7 foot, that's the whole kitchen. And then things like you're not plumbed into water. You have to fill a water tank every day to do hand washing and dishwashing.
Yeah, you don't like turn the sink on and walk away.
Yeah, you're like very conscious of, okay, I
gotta
do this quickly, yeah. And then other than that, it's just probably temperatures. It gets really hot in there in the summer and really cold in the winter.
So I guess naturally then with an actual restaurant that will be opening up, then you don't have to deal with those kind of things.
Yeah, we'll be able to take things over from the restaurant.
Yeah. And can be a little bit more expansive with your menu and what you're serving as well.
But we will still keep the food truck open too. Okay. That's staying where it is. Okay. That's still going to be our street food, and then this will be our sit-down meals, and then we're also having a bar and lounge.
How many different kinds of kibbah are we going to have on the menu?
I know.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So you were already there, you started it.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide that you were going to make the move, and what were you doing before that, Jacob?
Yeah. So it was 2011 when we started talking about it, and then we found the truck, and I did some of the work on it in Ohio, and then I was like, all right, I'll drive it out and let's get this thing started. And initially I was like, all right, we'll see how I like it, if I'm going to stay or not. But before that, I went to school at the University of Toledo and have a degree in film and video. And I had a video production company for a number of years, mostly doing local work, but we also did some international work where we did a documentary. Toledo, Ohio and Toledo, Spain are the first official sister cities in the world, 1931. And so around the time of the 75th anniversary, we did a documentary that was all about artists that live and work in both cities. So I got to live in Spain for a while, which was really fun. And then this documentary was on our local PBS, public television, a bunch of times. They showed it, so that was really exciting. And then we did some oral history work with local people in Toledo, and it was cool. We started getting a little burned out because it was a lot of television commercial work too, and that wasn't where the passion was going into filmmaking. So when this idea of the food truck came up, I was like, yeah, let's give it a shot and see what's going on. I was kind of winding down on the video production with my business partner at the time, so he actually is the one who helped me work on the truck, and then he and I drove it out together, and he stayed with us for the first summer out there in Olympia as well, and we all got it open together. And then it was great, and it was a lot of fun, and it was busy, yeah. So it was like, I think part of it was like I didn't want to leave because it was so busy. I don't think she wanted me to leave because it was busy. So I pretty much just moved to Olympia at that point.
And now he's my business partner.
And now we're full partners and expanding and having a good time doing it together.
And now we've convinced our parents to move to Washington.
No kidding.
Yeah, I actually just moved them there last week. I drove a giant rental truck across the country a week ago.
And I actually remember I was reading a story of when you were driving the food truck there, that it broke down halfway. So what was...
And in Minnesota, we broke down. We were stuck for like 5 days.
Oh my goodness.
Trying to get new
axles and wheels. Yeah, something that just snapped on it. But it was all part of the adventure. It was great.
Before you had moved it there, was the design all done on the truck?
No, that's all custom. That's all custom.
That's all.
We had.
What was the inspiration behind the design?
I had one of my best friends that I grew up with in Ohio is a graphic designer in Seattle. Her name is Julia Ondich.
Shout out to Julia.
Shout out to Julia. She does all of our design work. And we have some really close friends who are sign painters, and they were just being featured in a documentary at the time about sign painting across the United States. It's called Sign Painting.
Sign Painters.
And there's a book that goes along with it, and so the truck is in the book. And so they all collaborated on the design and then hand painting the entire truck. It's all painted by hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not that person, at least yet in my life, where I would live in a van and go traveling, but I was telling my husband that if I were, my van would look and like the van that you all have, the truck that you all have.
We have painters if
you need a painter, we got them.
I think it's a beautiful design.
It was an old linen delivery van.
Yeah. It was an Aramark delivery truck.
Yeah, originally. And then we did the base coat, and then they hand painted the rest of it on. Mm-hmm. We got to help a little.
Pimp my ride.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's something that we've always been into. Our parents had hand-painted sign work on their restaurant, and I've always appreciated that a little more than just vinyl wrapping and stuff.
Was in the same documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
So even when we got a cargo van for doing our supplies, we had the sign painters go to town on that one. They did the glass at our catering kitchen, put some really cool Assyrian art on there.
So you guys grew up in Toledo and then now are living in Washington, both sort of having very minimal, if at all, any Assyrians that are there. But the work that you do every day is like very Assyrian. You're around it all the time. Yeah. So what is that sort of experience like where you're around certain aspects of the culture and not so much the people? Does that affect you, or has that been sort of a natural thing because that's what you've grown up with?
Yeah. I think it's kind of natural. I think there's good and bad in all of that. I'd say the good is that we're not how Assyrians can be a little up in your business. We don't have to deal with that. So we're a little bit removed from that. The downside is not being fluent in the language. So we don't get that from growing up around a lot of Assyrians because of it.
Maybe when you're around it all the time, you don't appreciate it as much.
And when you're away from
people, it's so exciting.
We crave it.
And there are many ways to maintain your culture. One is through food, music, language, religion. So for us, food and playing our music in our truck all the time. We play Assyrian music when we work.
Y'all do a good job at sort of paying homage to that. Yeah. Have you had the experience of Assyrians coming
Oh,
to
yeah.
the truck? And
We love it.
Yeah, we love it.
What's that like?
It's great. They roll through. They're on a road trip, or they're in Seattle or Portland or something. Like, we're gonna come up for lunch, and they'll hit us up on Facebook or something and let us know, and we meet them. We'll meet any Assyrians who want to come. We'll be there in a minute.
We tell our employees, if an Assyrian comes to the window, text us right away.
Aww.
We will come.
Yeah,
We will come.
I live like 5 blocks away from work, so I can be there in a minute.
That's awesome.
And it's been really cool. We've gotten to know some people that way that we never would have met otherwise, and they turn out to be super cool people.
And how do they hear about the food truck?
Usually online, and word of mouth.
Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram.
I think the coolest thing that ever happened to me in the truck, I was working one morning, I was opening, and the phone rings, and I look at the thing, and it's got this really long phone number. And I was like, what the hell kind of number is this? And I pick it up, and it was actually an Assyrian living in Nineveh who called because he saw the food truck on Facebook, and he just wanted to say hi, and he's like, I just want you to know that we see you here back home, and we're just really proud of you. And I was like, I'm ready to cry, It's like it's like the coolest thing in the world to have that happen when a total stranger just calls you up to tell you that you're doing a good thing. And I was like, that made my year. It made my decade, really.
Yeah. Respect. I always told Asher I would love to do a road trip where we're flying into Vancouver and then just making our way down, and y'all's being one of the place that we stop at before we then.
We've met many people who are done like BC down the coast.
Yeah, we're just a few hours from Vancouver, so.
And I know Assyrians are sort of sprinkled all throughout the Northwest. I know that there's like at least a few, or there was a very tiny community in the Seattle area.
There's an Assyrian church to the east in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's all in English.
Yeah.
And I think there used to be a few Assyrian families that go there. Maybe there's a couple that still do. I went there in the late 90s when I first moved across the country looking for my people, and there weren't any there.
Yeah.
But the priest knew. He was like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah. And so are you all connected at all to any of the folks that are
We've met
in
a
the
couple.
Northwest area?
We've met a couple
people
families in Seattle.
Through the truck.
Yeah. They have found us, and then they'll call us, and then we get together, not all the time, but every now and then we'll get together, have dinner or something.
And then we met a family in Olympia.
Yeah.
Their children were in my ceramics class. When I got my roster for the session, I was like, whoa, there's Assyrian names on my list.
Yeah.
And then I looked at their mom, and she wasn't Assyrian. I thought, And then I talked to her, and she was like, oh, my husband's from Chicago. And I was like, you guys are Assyrian? And then she went home and told her husband that the children's teacher was Assyrian. He was like, no.
She
probably said Syrian. So we've hung out with that family. They're great.
Yeah, they're really cool.
I've got family actually in Washington as well, but they're on the eastern part. So I was looking at it on the map.
Like Spokane or Tri-Cities or.
I have to look it up, but I know I put it on Google Maps just to see how far it was from you guys, and it was like 5 hours. So I was like, okay, that's quite far.
One of the families we know from Seattle used to live in the eastern part.
Okay.
They were originally from California and then moved to eastern Washington and then moved to Seattle. Maybe it's the same people.
It could be.
We'll figure this out.
I'm gonna go into. I had some of the co-hosts send me some questions that they wanted to ask, so we'll go through these.
Cool.
So one question, and this is from Ninorta, is for the food truck, do you all have a plan to make a trip driving around the states and stopping at different cities?
Oh, God.
Or do you all just plan to stay in like one location with the truck?
I hate driving the truck now, so I think we're staying where we are. I don't want to break down in the middle of nowhere again.
Logistically, it would be really, really difficult, but it sounds like an amazing, fun time.
It would be cool.
Trying to get licensed in every city you went to.
Yeah, that's the hard part. But also trying to strap everything down when you're driving because there's food everywhere. I'll never forget the Great Tahini Spill of 2016, where a 30-pound pail of tahini fell off the shelf and someone hadn't put the lid on it while I was driving. That was not fun.
That's tragic.
Yeah, you don't want to have to clean up that much tahini off the floor, so I don't think we'll be driving. Sorry.
We try not to drive, sorry.
All right, good to know. There we go.
We can come to your town and cook for you.
All right,
yeah,
well, there you go. That's the offer.
Okay.
That's the counter offer right there. John asks, how did other ethnic food scenes or lack thereof in the area inspire you to introduce Assyrian food into the mix? You talked about this a little bit, but if you want to talk a little bit about the other ethnic food scenes, if at all.
Yeah, I think, especially for trucks, I think that the the origin of them comes from like Mexican lunch trucks.
Yeah, a lot
selling
of it.
Tacos, and especially on the West Coast, they're everywhere, sprinkled all across.
I know that. Modesto Turlock
So
area
good.
has like some of the best Mexican food
Yeah.
out of food trucks.
We have a great taco truck right next to us, and then there's a Venezuelan truck on the other side of us.
A mile away, there's a Hawaiian truck.
Yeah.
Hawaiian fusion.
But yeah, for us, it was lack of Middle Eastern food in the area that made me really want to open an Assyrian food truck.
Awesome. So Steve asks, I'd like to know what they sell the most of, kebabs or dolma. What are people fiending for at 2 a.m.? Are you even open at 2 a.m.?
No.
Okay, so it's not a late night food
Right,
truck.
no.
We're not a
But
party
I guess
shack.
what's your most popular item, or top 3, let's say,
Lemon
most
beef
popular?
shawarma.
Lemon beef shawarma is number 1.
We make it from scratch. We marinate meat and build our spits every day, multiple times a day.
Yep.
And then second would probably be the chicken shawarma.
Mm-hmm.
And then the falafel, which we also make from scratch. We soak beans and grind them up and add seasoning. Everything we do is from scratch. That was like the most important thing for me, is to not get open up a business with just box mix cookie cutter Middle Eastern food with like giant Euro bologna cones. Not into that. We grew up watching our uncle make it from scratch here in Chicago. And we're like, we're gonna have real shawarma, and we're not gonna be a late night drunk truck. We want our customers to consciously come get delicious food during the day.
We're getting we're getting state workers and things like that are coming, because we're the state capital. So.
And I think it's a great lunch or dinner for anyone. It's vegetables, meat.
Mm-hmm.
There's protein and a little bit of carb. It's the
But
perfect
people that are
rounded meal.
vegans also get that option as
the
well.
The falafel's vegan.
We
have
a
others.
sandwich that's called the sabich, which is an Iraqi sandwich that was popular in the Jewish communities of Baghdad, which has now made it a popular sandwich in Israel. It's fried eggplant with umba and hummus and pickled turnips.
Hard-boiled egg.
And a pita bread?
Yeah,
wrapped up in a pita.
Tahini,
Nice.
That's really good. That's really popular.
And that one can be vegan too, with potatoes instead of eggs.
Okay.
And then, dolma, though, is very popular. It's a very popular side dish that we
make
have.
from scratch.
We make from scratch, too, We do vegetarian one.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just since it's a limited menu, but I think it covers a lot of bases, and it can satisfy a lot of different food requirements as well.
Nice.
Because we do for people who are gluten free, we can serve it all over a bed of rice in a box instead of doing it in pita bread. So we get all kinds of customers coming.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, you're all around food all the time, and it's done for work. But what do you all enjoy cooking for yourselves when it's non-work related?
At home?
What's your
Everything,
favorite meal
really.
that you enjoy?
Well,
Let's
it'll
say
always.
Assyrian.
It's always
Assyrian food. Yeah.
Is it shawwa?
Chipta is my favorite dish of all time.
But you're not gonna make that for yourself.
I don't make it often myself. No.
Yeah.
I did get an Instant Pot, and I started making harissa in my Instant Pot.
I just made it for Christmas. How was yours?
It turns out really well. The barley cooks really well in the Instant Pot, and the meat, I can throw a frozen chicken breast in there, and it'll then just break it up at the end. It works. I was surprised.
Now I will say, I went to the local Assyrian Middle Eastern store, and I went and I got pearl barley because that's what the ingredients had said.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and the lady's like, "Oh, are you making this for dikhwa?" Or I was like, "No, for harissa." And she's like, "Oh no, you're gonna want to get the wheat and not the barley." And I was like, "But no, that's not what the thing said." So anyways, I asked at least 5 people, and there was half of them that said that it was barley and half that said wheat.
I've never had
So I did it with wheat, and it was actually really good, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it with barley as well to see if there's any difference in taste or texture or anything of that sort.
I
I
don't
think
know.
they're both great.
I'm sure,
They're both a hearty grain.
Yeah,
right.
you
It'll
did
work.
it.
I've done it with barley.
Yeah.
Barley is one of my
Barley,
favorite
yeah.
things in the world, so I try to put it in soups, anything. I just love barley.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
It's a very ancient grain.
Yeah. Jacob, so you ended up moving to Washington because of this food truck, and on Instagram as well, your IG handle is Lisa's brother. So
Yes.
talk to me. What's that about?
I think that comes from me knowing everyone in town, and then Jacob coming to town and being like,
Okay.
"Hi, I'm Lisa's brother."
Exactly.
That just becomes a part of the identity, right?
And also, it was I remember, I think it was actually my email too. I used that because most variations of my name, it's common names, Jacob and David. So, those were all taken. So I just got creative with it.
You're like,
Hilarious.
Lisa's brother.
Yeah.
And he's older.
And plus, it's always that thing with Middle Eastern communities saying you're so-and-so's son or so-and-so's daughter. And I was like, nah, I'm so-and-so's brother.
Yeah.
I'm Lisa's brother.
Yeah.
And I'm older
I
too.
You're the older
Yeah.
one. Well, you're a dynamic duo and great siblings and now business partners. Like, that's just amazing. Lisa, you have a son.
I do.
Yes. What's his name?
His name is Avi, or Avshalom is his Assyrian name. He's named after my dad's uncle.
Avshalom in Hebrew.
In Hebrew, sorry.
Yeah.
And then he's named after my dad's uncle, who was like one of the first relatives to come from Baghdad.
To here, yeah.
Yeah, he's my grandmother's brother.
What's it like raising a little baby?
He's extremely determined, which makes it frustrating. So I have a daily practice of patience.
I can imagine.
But he's also brilliant, and he's super fun to be around, and he's so loving.
He's really sweet.
Yeah,
and he's a very cute baby.
He's really cute.
Yeah.
He's a very cute baby.
He charms us daily.
Yeah. Jacob, I see on your Instagram that you're really into Assyrian music, vinyls in particular. Are you as well, Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
sure.
so both of you.
Yeah.
Where does that stem from?
I think listening to
the records when we were little. Yeah. I had a record player in my bedroom.
And they gave us Assyrian records.
Yeah.
And you just listened to those?
Loved them. Yeah, we played them over and over and over.
We wore them out.
Now looking back, we wish we wouldn't have worn them out. So
yeah, I still have the same records, and they're a little more beat up. Yeah, but yeah, that's my other Instagram is Assyrian Vinyl.
Yeah,
I have that page too.
Yeah, so they're so sought out now, like the records and people trying to find them. We just had Abud Zaytoun on, and
he's great.
He was talking about how hard it was to find particular vinyls and how by chance, like one time on eBay, this person wasn't even Assyrian, was like selling, I forgot what record it was. So they kind of pop up seldomly. And he was saying he's still looking for like a Sargon Gabriel one that Sargon Gabriel himself doesn't even have.
His second album.
They're so hard.
No one even has seen the cover. None of us have the cover. We all have MP3 files of that album, but nobody knows what the album cover looked like. Nothing.
So you all have them from the time that you were actually little.
And some from family, and then I asked like a local DJ here at one of my cousin's weddings if he knew where to get any vinyl that was Assyrian, and he gave me like a handful of records, and it like blew my mind.
Yeah. That's like gold.
It's gold.
That's what I told him. That's what I told him, and I was like, I'll pay you, and he's like, no, you can have them, you can have them. And I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I always tell people like you know that thing, like if your house is on fire, what would you try to grab running out? I'd be like, I'd grab my shelf of Assyrian vinyl.
Wow. Yeah, that's
other than people, of course, but I live alone, so it doesn't matter.
And they can run out as well. Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'll grab some pants. I don't know.
It's hard. I've been playing records, since we were teenagers, DJing parties. We both got into vinyl. We played with records when we were kids, and then we got into tapes and CDs. And then when we were teenagers, we got back into vinyl.
Yeah.
And Jacob was always DJing disco parties, and
so I've
always been looking through records in record stores. And I always go to thrift shops and look at records. And I was like, one day I'm gonna find an Assyrian record. And sure enough, I found a Shamir record at a thrift store for $1 one day. And
where was this?
In Washington State.
She lived in Seattle.
She lived in Seattle.
She was
So
from
I knew
Seattle,
I'd find one. And I've known other dealers in Washington who have had her records and sold them.
That just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're like, they're like independent releases. So they weren't distributed. There aren't any copies pressed of many of them. And then there's also the culture of like getting rid of everything.
The Assyrian cleaning factor.
So we're like, how many of them ended up in landfills?
Yeah.
Like, who did people save them? I hope that some are still in people's attics.
Yeah, and that they found some value in them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I teethed on vinyl as a baby. So there's track one of a number of records that are messed up. Not of the Assyrian records. Those are I didn't chew on those, but yeah, other ones.
What would you say was like the golden years of Assyrian music?
I think late 70s, early 80s.
Early 80s.
For me, because I love synthesizer music
and that funk. They had that funky element to that Assyrian music that was really good. That's my favorite too.
Yeah, like the Assyrians trying like a little bit of westernizing the music with the amazing analog synthesizers. That's what does
But then just playing a basic setup of guitar, bass, drum.
That too, yeah.
Like that early Ashur Betserges, early Sargon Gabriel stuff, Linda George's early stuff is all great.
Such good variation too.
And a lot of it came out of a studio here in Chicago, the Sargon Yonan Studios.
But anything Sargon Yonan is like genius.
Yeah, there's just jams all over those records. They're so good.
I love the Raymond Samuel records. They're really funky.
Yeah. Disco-y. Yeah.
See, I'll say like my extent of older Assyrian music is actually thanks to Monir Sherry, who's posted so many of them on YouTube.
He and I have traded before too.
Okay,
we're in touch. Yeah, he's a great guy.
I grew up and we listened to some, but I actually listened to all like Western kind of music growing up. So kind of being able to go through YouTube now and seeing those, I'm just like, these are amazing. So, but I'm limited to obviously what's available on there.
I remember being a kid and looking forward to coming to Chicago to go to the grocery stores and buy new tapes. Like, that was always really exciting for us to see which tapes my dad would get for us to listen to.
The different Assyrian stores.
Jinan Saba tapes, Sangon tapes.
Yeah.
Those are all good.
Any particular song or artist that you're just like, yes?
My favorite song, not just of Assyrian music, but my favorite song, if anyone asks, like, normally it's hard to pick one, right? You can't be like, this is my only favorite song. But no, it's Sargon Gabriel, Sheikhani. Yeah, from his 1980 album.
Nice. How about you, Lisa?
I can't pick one.
Not one in particular. Anyone that like brings a good feeling to you every time you listen to it, you're like, yes.
I think that entire Sargon album, the one in the tape version, he's only wearing the red shirt, but then on the record he has like all that mixing soundboard behind it.
Oh yeah.
Which album
yeah, that's I forget the name of it. That's from like 83 or something like that, maybe.
That's my favorite album.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything that you'd love to see in like the future when it comes to Assyrian music?
Oh, more analog synth, bring it back.
Yeah. I would love to see more pressed on vinyl. It was really cool that people are starting to collect it now, so I think it'll in the general vinyl resurgence that's happening, I think it'd be nice to see some of the younger Assyrian artists embrace that. I think would be cool to see and have them put out some release. I know it's expensive and it's hard to do, so I don't knock them for not doing it, but it would be really cool to see them.
Yeah, because it's so expensive to produce.
Yeah. Going back to your son Avi, in helping raise him, how do you keep a balance, if at all, with both sides of you?
Well, I try to listen to a lot of Assyrian music with him, and then hopefully having my dad around soon will help with the language, because he picks up language very fast, and I think having my dad speak to him will make it more likely that he'll speak some Assyrian when he's older.
He's got a handful of words that he uses just from us, but even though we're limited in what we know. But yeah, he's counting in Assyrian and in English, so, and he's 2.5, so he's learning. He'll get there.
Yeah. Does he know Hebrew at all as well?
He listens to some Hebrew songs, and I take him once a month to the temple to do Tat Shabbat, which is just like playing and singing songs with the rabbi, and it's really relaxed. It's not structured religious. It's not too structured
class work. It's just playtime.
He loves it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So in the near future for the both of you, it's now expanding out into a restaurant. When do you plan for that to officially
hopefully spring,
open?
Summer.
Yeah. Hopefully,
of 2019.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're trying to make
a handful of months.
My prep cook who works in the kitchen with me is also a ceramicist. His name is John Brooks, and he's amazing. We're trying to make all of the dishes from clay for the restaurant, so all handmade plates.
Any hints of like what the inside design is going to look like?
I think they're not going to have too much texture because the food particles it'll be harder to clean. And I think we haven't picked out colors, but most of the glaze colors I like are inspired by the Ishtar gates, which I've seen in real life.
Yeah, we went together
in Berlin.
Nothing like it.
Nope, nothing like it. It's amazing.
I think I just walked into the room and wound up standing there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Same.
Just in awe of it all.
And it's only like part of it.
And it was
interesting
because because we would hear the stories from our dad and family growing up, how they would go actually just picnic in Babylon. So they've been to where the gates stood, but they never saw the tiles because the tiles were taken before any of them were born. Yeah. They've been in Germany forever. So we always say that between the three of us, we've seen the entirety of the gates now.
That's true, yeah. I remember going there too, and aside from just staring at it, I was like observing kind of like how everyone else was taking it in.
I do that a lot in Assyrian galleries.
That's my people
exactly.
Right
yeah.
Yeah, we always try to go to the Oriental Institute in Chicago to visit the giant Lamassu.
Yeah. Yeah, Avi loves that.
Yep.
He's all about the Lamassu.
He's all about the Lamassu
Yeah.
life.
He's like really into recognizing icons and logos. So he sees that in our logo or like on our truck. Mm-hmm. So he's really grasped onto the Lamassu.
Yeah. You are both entrepreneurs. So for those that are listening and let's say they have a business idea and they want to sort of take it to the next level, what kind of advice do you have for them?
I think even though it's really annoying and time consuming, writing a business plan and having everything like mapped out before you jump into opening a business is extremely important, because there are all these things that are going to come up once you get open that you're not going to have planned for. So it's nice to have everything as much as you can planned out ahead of time. What else?
Talk to professionals.
Yeah.
There's people out there that know, and those people are good to talk to as well, because they're not just going to tell you what you want to hear. If you're talking to your friends, you're like, I got this idea, I want to sell this thing or open this business. They're like, oh, that's a great idea, go for it. But it's not always a great idea.
Study your market.
Study your market. Talk to people that'll tell you no sometimes. It's important to hear. You don't want just to be surrounded by people that try to make you feel good. You want to be successful. So
yeah, I think definitely feeling out your market is important. Whether that's going to be online or in an area, and how to specifically target that market is really important.
Yeah. And make sure you're not just doing it as a hobby, because it's a lot of work. Doing it for yourself is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but also really rewarding.
Rewarding. It's rewarding work, though. Yeah, true. Come visit us in Olympia when you're driving through. Anyone, we'd love to have you.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we will come meet you at the truck.